Hey, Roger Martin here for Billings, Montana. This is InfoWars, and I like what Alex says on faith and resistance.
It breeds decadence. It breeds spoiled, rotten gangs and cartels of individuals that will ally themselves with the worst sorts in the power structure, and then who will systematically go out and hunt down, every time in history, their betters, because they don't like the fact that we exist. And the fact that we're moral and strong always is a reminder of what horrible little globalists they are. Now, there's different types of people that join evil, obviously, but I've had some conversations with globalists on record that I've been able to tell you about. Others have been off record, and I haven't violated those confidences. And I've made the point thousands of times that they collect individuals that promote liberty like they collect baseball cards. Probably the greatest, and I put that in quotes, head of the private Federal Reserve ever was Alan Greenspan. Alan Greenspan was friends with Ron Paul. Alan Greenspan admired Barry Goldwater and Larry McDonald. Alan Greenspan in the 60s and 70s was a von Mises Institute type economist. If you heard him in the 70s on a radio show, and we've played clips before, it sounded like Ron Paul or Rand Paul. But he got bought off. He sold out to the system. He was a very eloquent challenger of it. And so the only reason I tell you the story here of why I haven't sold out is so you can understand their mindset. Almost everyone else sells out. And there's a lot of reasons people do that. But the biggest one is they learn that the general public is dumbed down and decadent and stupid and doesn't want to be told the truth.
Well, that's a powerful statement, and there's probably a lot more truth in that I'd like to admit. But there are groups waking up.
That you don't hear in modern nomenclature or parlance, but we're going to use it today because here's a constellation of articles that all tie together. It's a theme. You won't see this theme in the news. It's not a theme the corporate news is pushing, but it's hidden in the news. And it's hidden in plain view. So here's a few examples of it. Remember this from last year and this year? They had big national studies and polls done by universities in the annual report on U.S. attitudes. Majority of millennials want to live in a socialist, fascist, or communist nation. Because they're being
Crazy. Crazy.
At the New York Times, the Washington Post, Vanity Fair, all of it.
Brainwashing is almost complete in some areas, but there are people fighting, younger people and other people fighting against this. It's not totally complete.
They're fighting to take over the world. And people need to grow up, and they need to stop it. Israel's just like the United States, just like Germany, just like all those countries. Hell, half of Israel's Russian. Talk about the Russian conspiracy. It's all crap. Western countries are under attack. The worth ethic's under attack. Free market's under attack. Things that people fought wars for. Free speech, the right to commerce, the right to live, the right to worship, the right to not worship is all being taken away. Your birthright, I don't care whether you're a Jew or a Muslim or you're Mexican or you're English or who you are. If you don't take the birthright of freedom and a future and say you're willing to stand up for it, then you're a chump. Like these dumbass millennials. Half of them want to be communist or fascist, or 70% actually. 45 want to be commies, 10% want to be socialist, 9% want to be fascist. They're just idiots. They're morons, as if you're going to have a seat at the table in a fascist government. You don't get a seat in a fascist government unless you're a commando in the military, idiot. And you don't get a seat in a communist government.
He says it right out. Straight out. That's what I like about him. He doesn't mix. We are at war. Make no two ways about it.
I'm a published scientist and a science author. And when I look at the science of what they want to do in the name of halting global warming or climate change, it turns out that this plan would exterminate humanity. And I'm going to get into that some here today. but also to let you know that the full episode of Counterthink, which airs on Infowars.com Sunday at 6 p.m., that full episode, I've already recorded that episode. It's in production right now, and it has even more details than what I'll be able to present here today because I've got some other points to cover. But the big story is they are now conducting and advocating what's called stratospheric aerosol injection, SAI. And there's a science paper on that that's in, what is it, the Environmental Research Letters. And I've cited that science journal. And this is basically the new sciencey sounding term for what most people would call chemtrails or geoengineering. And in this science paper, they propose spraying at very high altitudes, for example, 20 kilometers of altitude, sulfur dioxide into the upper atmosphere in order to dim the sun. They want to partially block out the sun. And they propose building an entire new fleet of aircraft with specialization just to spray this pollution all around the world. Now, you and I would call sulfur dioxide smog, or technically you would say it results in the creation of smog. And even the EPA says that sulfur dioxide is a toxin to humans and makes it difficult to breathe. If you have enough sulfur dioxide in the air, you will asphyxiate and die. In fact, all mammals will, because sulfur dioxide is a poison to humans. So why are they altering the atmosphere? Why are they wanting to spray this by running 4,000 flights a year with a proposed cost of $2.25 billion a year in order to spray this pollution into the upper atmosphere? The answer is terraforming operations are underway. They are terraforming planet Earth. They're altering the atmosphere. And if you look at the implications of this sun dimming, this global...
All right, you can listen to more of this on Infowars.com. But obviously these people are sick and they are deluded, and they could care less about who survives. They want to survive, and they'll have their own money to survive, but they just as soon wipe out the rest of the human population if they can't control it. That's how sick these people are. And they're using our own tax dollars to do it. And this is totally wrong. Again, this is Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Good day. Take a look at some of this stuff. It is frightening, to say the least. And we either will fight back or win, or we will lose. There's no two ways about it. The only thing that isn't talked about enough, and it was indicated on Alex Jones' show, was that Christ and faith in Christ is powerful. No matter what happens, Christ will come back and rule and reign on this earth. He will clean up the atmosphere. He will clean up the earth. It will be burned and consumed and cleaned up. And he'll come back and rule and reign on a clean planet that has been changed. And the evil, elite people will be burned and consumed. The righteous will be left, and he will rule with the righteous. So no matter how extreme this gets, he'll clean it up when he comes back and burns and consumes this earth and changes and alters it and lifts it to a higher righteous level of existence. Again, that's our only hope. So we need to have Jesus Christ in our homes, our hearts, our families, our communities, in our corporations, in our leadership politically, and especially in our homes and our families. That's the foundation. It has to get out of the church and into the communities, into the people's hearts and minds. Again, this is Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Good day.